Okay, so I guess we will get started. So thank you so much everyone for joining our event today. First, I want to introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Phương. I use she, her, hers for now. I am an international student from Vietnam, and this is my last year at BCC. I also been working for ASPCC Sylvania as the International Student Ambassador. And today I'm so happy to see some of my friends and also have Alison and Alicia from the Office of International Student join us. Thank you so much for spending time. And before we go to the meet our panelists, I would love to share a little bit about the purpose of this event. So when I was in a university in Vietnam, I always found it fascinating to hear and learn stories from other people, and those help me to find again the purpose in life whenever I lose hope. That's why I really hope to be able to do this event. And today you will have a chance to learn those great stories from our BCC international student. So today's event format will be like a talk show. I will ask our panelists a question, and then at the end of this event, as the audience, you will have time to ask questions to the panelists as well. So let's get started. Our panelists, can you have to introduce yourself, name, pronouns, where you from, and what are you doing or studying right now, and how have you been doing during the pandemic? Um, Maybe I would love to start with Mohammed first, if you don't mind.
Hi, sure. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
It's
Yes.
like
Yes.
music to my ears.
Oh, okay.
Loud and clear.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Kareem. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Nice to see all of you. Been home for 3 months now, but a bit busy with school. So this is the third week that I have finished. So doing things that I never had time to do, mixing some music, drawing, I mean, all kind of things that you can imagine. I was at PCC for 3.5 years. I did my English ASOL for 3 terms, and then my associate, and then now at Manhattan College in New York City. I just finished my junior year, so I'm a rising senior next year. Is that everything? Did I cover everything? Oh, studied civil engineering.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Maybe Philadelphia, would you mind if you go next?
Sure. My name is Philadelphia. I use she or her pronouns. I've been in PCC for 3 years, and 2 of those years I was involved in ASPCC, particularly in Cascade. And right now I am in University of Oregon. I'm studying biology. Yeah, our school is still on, and we're really uncertain what's happening for fall and very scared. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think, sorry, my Wi-Fi. Yeah, we all share like how it's scared you with this pandemic. And thank you, Shanna. How about you, Keaton? You want to introduce yourself?
So hi everyone, my name is T, and I'm studying radiologic science at Oregon Tech. So I've been in PCC for like 2.5 years, and then for those 2 years, I was in PC International office and peer advisor at like Career Center in Southeast Campus. And then I transferred to Oregon Tech for like 1.5 years now, and then yeah, I think I'm really great to be here, like meeting everyone that like I've been working with or like seeing like around campus back then. And I've been doing great for the quarantine. Like we have a lot still online class, and have been enjoying like staying home and cooking, and then like just like have some time for myself. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad that you have time to enjoy the cooking. I really like that at cooking. And how about you, Julia? You wanna introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Yulia. I am from Russia. I've been in the United States for 5 years. I've been in the ASPCC for the past 3 years, I believe. And my last year, I was doing OPT, which is practical training for international students. So basically, I could work. I was very busy time, but it's over now. So now it's quarantine time. Now there is no work, there is no classes. So I'm just enjoying my time, and I'm waiting for my new OPT to be approved, and I'm waiting to start classes at fall. I'm gonna be studying management or business, something like that. So yeah, I'm waiting.
Thank you. I'm so happy for you. Like you don't have to worry about the homework right now. How about you, Nishan? You wanna go next?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Nishan Rasta. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm an international student from Nepal. And I'm sorry, like I'm using my laptop to see you all and using my lap phone just to like call in because the laptop mic is a little bit messy right now. So yeah, this quarantine. I was at PCC for 2 years, from 2017 to 2019, and then I moved on to Drexel University in Philadelphia. I'm studying civil engineering, and I'll actually go for my master's as well right after that. So I'll be in school for like until 2023, with a year of experience in a firm working with CPT. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And this quarantine is just like chilling at home, doing nothing. It's just like not productive at all. I miss you all. Instead, I would be happy to come back to PCC for a while.
Thank you, Nishan. We miss you too. Let's see. I guess the last panel will be Hamida. Right? Sorry, Hamida.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Hamida. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm the Marketing and Communications Director at ASPCC Sylvania. I'm also International Orientation Mentor. So I have been at PCC for 3 years now. I will be graduating soon from, I will be having associate degree of applied science in construction management. Hopefully I will do 1 year of OPT if everything open. What is the next question? What am I doing during the quarantine? Yeah, I'm still taking classes and working from home, so that keeps me busy. But I also have some extra time to cook more and watch TV and TV shows and stuff like that. So yeah, that's nice too. So I don't have a lot of commutes, and that's helpful, but I don't feel like I don't have anything to do. I always busy, which is nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Hamida. I know that you have been like enjoy cooking a lot during the quarantine time, so that's great. Thank you so much, our panelists, and I really love the diversity we have here. So the first question I have for you all is, what would it like to come to the US as an international student? Oh, sorry, I didn't recognize I moved. So thank you for all like introduction, and you're really great. And the first question I have for you all is, what would it like to come to the US as an international student? Anyone? want to answer first for that question, or maybe Nishan, you want to go first, dear Tom?
Yes, thank you, Phil. Like coming to the US, it's very exciting, and then like starting at PCC, yeah, I still remember coming for the first time and then trying to figure out everything, trying to know all the places, getting used to PCC's 4 campuses. So it was all new. It was very new, and even like I was not very comfortable with speaking English all the time. So it was definitely challenging to put myself out there and like be myself. So like initial impression for some people were like I was like really shy, and that is probably not who you know me to be. So yeah, it was challenging in terms of language and trying to adapt to the situation, and all of it, like my PCC, using my PCC, registering for courses, all of them were new to me. So like I needed a lot of help getting used to the email system or the my PCC, trying to find out like through the different portals, like even to pay the tuition. So like I had my sister to help me, but then I definitely know that I took a lot of time getting used to so many new information here with the lifestyle that we live in. So as an international student, definitely that is how it looked like for me when I started at PCC.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I have the same experience too, because when I went to school in Vietnam, like we don't have a school email system, so that was a whole new thing for me. And how about you? Maybe Hamida, you want to share your thought on this question?
Yeah, for me it was a little bit different. I didn't feel like, yeah, of course it's very different because I already went to university back home, and for a long time, and I got my master's degree. But it's different. But at the same time, when I came here, and I enjoyed the university more. It's a different system, especially with student life and leadership. That gave me more leadership experience. So yeah, I was enjoying it most of the time, except that like I'm far from family, and those are the only things. So I'm far from home, but at the same time, I know that's not like forever. So I'm trying to make the most out of it. I'm trying to be so involved, to have more experience, and something like have something when I go back home, I will benefit from. So yeah.
Yeah, that is great. I mean, even a lot of different out there, but you get engaged on the leadership program. I really I really like glad that you found new experience as a student leader. Um, Next, maybe Pete, you wanna share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure. So it was really a big difference for me because when so I didn't go to university like back home. Like I came here when I was 18, and so I was here, and like with like education is really different because like back home, like in my high school, like you just like listen to like a teacher, and here like in class, like the first day of class, like in math class, everyone just like shout out the answer. So it's kind of like really new to me. And then email was like something like really new because I like not used to have like email or like communicate with teachers like that. And also like it's kind of like hard because like I'm really homesick and I miss my friends and family back home. And but then like the school under like PCC, they have a lot of events that like help connect people. So I remember like when I first came, there was like a big Vietnamese what's that called, just like events and at PCC Southeast, and then there's like a lot of people like come for like games. It's kind of like a game day, And then so a lot of people came, and like I make a lot of friends there, like just like the first few weeks of school, and then like I start like making friends with like through PC Southeast events. So it's really nice, and it makes me like feel less homesick. And yeah, I think it was hard at first, but then like it just like slowly adapt to like the environment. So I really appreciate and enjoy like the time at PCC.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you've been through all that difficult time at a very young age. So maybe Mohammed, you wanna go next?
Sure. So I think when I came to the US, I mean, every international student have the same thing, which is always hard in the beginning because you have, different language. If you're not speaking English in your country, and then you have the culture shock, you have, being within the society and knowing people and everything. I think the first almost a year, which was my ESOL journey, it was the hardest, I think. The last term, level 8, I joined ASPCC, which started for me to be more, what's the word? Maybe open, maybe have more friends with people, gain more confident actually, in speaking in public or even reaching to teachers or whatever. And then from there, it just got better, just got more involved on campus, and everything went great. But I think it's just the beginning of every international student journey. It's the hardest, and I can't imagine right now for the new students, especially everybody is home. I don't know how they even doing it, but I hope they're finding ways to, connect with people so they don't feel lonely.
Yeah, I think I share that with you too, because I also started working for at ASPCC at the end of the level ESOL, and I also been helping with some new students like come to the US like this time, like just call them and help them to translate. So I think those BCC done a good job on. Yeah, so next maybe Philadelphia, you want to share your experience?
Yeah, so like again, probably at the beginning it was kind of fun, but then like first 2 months probably, then it's like, oh my gosh, I really want to go home. Then it's okay, I'm here, I have to make something out of myself. Then and I think I feel like a lot of people mention ASPCC, but just to be clear, ASPCC is more like, it's not just once from like work from you and pays you and then bye, but they invest a lot of like workshops on you. They basically create like a summer camp for you to do what you want, as long as you're like doing some initiative. Plus, they really work on your development too. So I think it gave me a lot of confidence to go on with what I want to do later on. And I think I'm really lucky that it kind of like I got hooked to it, and then it kind of went on that I stayed 1 extra year in PCC. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great that you recognize like all the resources that are available for students here at BCC. Maybe and I guess Julia, you will be the last panelist, like to share about your experience, like when you first come to the US.
Yeah, so for me it was a big challenge. It was a big thing going on, because back in my country I got full scholarship in university, so I actually studied there for a year. So leaving there, it was just a huge change for me, because I could have stayed there and I could have go to school for free, plus I got scholarship. But I came here instead, and it was just a big thing, a big decision. But I think at the end it was a good decision. It was the right decision. Because coming to the United States, it was a lot of things going on, because I came here when I was 18. I was young, I was unexperienced. Like I didn't even know like how to do recycling, how to use a washing machine, like things like that. Like I didn't know like how much something. Like I remember I came to the store and it was like $2, and then I know how much it is. Like, am I overpaying? Is it like I didn't know much. But I started studying in PCC. I started learning the language, so it gave me a lot of confidence. And then I got involved with the ASPCC actually, and it was a big thing. People there, they were very supportive, and they do invest a lot in you. So at the end, you come out this whole like brand new person with personality much more like shaped better. Like you prepared for more challenges. You're ready to go. You're more confident. So it was the right decision to come here. It was challenging at first, but definitely a beneficial decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is great that you have been on the right decision like in your life. And I want to follow up with you a little bit more on that. So I know like since in life we all have to make some important decision. So how do you I guess like how did you figure out like which one will be the best decision for you at the time? You and Fred, when you come to US, like, um,
Well, I remember actually my mom was a big influence. She pretty much like delivered me from Russia to university, like to PCC, and she was supporting me financially and emotionally. So that was a big push. So my family supported me. That was a big thing. And actually, she tricked me. She was like, "You can go there for a term, for a couple terms, and then you can come back if you don't like it." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna stay there." So that was my intention at first. But then I realized that the culture here is so different. There are so many more opportunities. There are so many more options, more things you can do. So I continued taking courses. I don't remember exactly the date when I changed my mind, when I decided to stay here and not coming back. But I guess it's just the more I was staying here, the more opportunities I saw. So I never actually made that decision to go back. So like with New Day, I see new opportunities here, and I continue staying here, and this going on and going on. So there's no reason to come back, pretty much.
yeah, thank you. I know that a great team, like, we been receiving the new opportunity, like each of us have when we make any decision on the direction we go. And I also would love to have a follow-up question with maybe Hamida. So you mentioned earlier that you got a master degree in Morocco and have been working as journalist 5 years. So how did it feel like? How did it feel like for you to switch your career path when you moved to the US and you trained to study another major?
Yeah, when I got my degree, like I always had this like in the back of my head that I wanna have like experience of studying abroad. So that was with me all the time. But I also had to save for going and studying abroad, especially you know, like everything is expensive. In my country, I studied for free. I had just to buy the books, which are super expensive, but like basically you don't pay tuitions, you pay some fees. But at the same time, I knew I have to pay rent, which I didn't back home. And I was living easy life, but at the same time, I want to try the hard part, like to be more responsible and to have more experience my like in my own so yeah, like so I always thought that I wanna study something abroad. When I came, that's when I didn't really decided what I'm going to study. So that was like I was thinking maybe something related to computer or, but when I came I was watching this HGTV all the time, uh, and I fell in love with like remodeling and design and stuff like that. I started with BCT, but in design, build remodeling, and in that program, one of my instructors recommended that I go to management because he saw like leadership part of me that I would be like, and that's what like it's missing, women in the management, in construction management. And that's why it took me a little bit long, not that much, but like they are under the same program, which is building construction technology, but different, some similar classes, some and lots of different classes. So I decided to switch to construction management, and I have been enjoying it a lot, like more than you can imagine. Like I really love it. And the only parts that I don't really enjoy, and I talked to the chair of the department, is like classes that are related to law, because we have to take a lot of codes and construction laws, and those for me sounds like easy. I just read them because you have just to look through the laws, and it's like for other people maybe it takes more time, but for me I didn't learn anything. I was like, I can do that by my own, on my own. And the good part, they understand that and they can substitute it with something else. But other than that, everything else like related to design or management part or the business part, all those things were like so amazing, and I have been enjoying it. I have one more term to go, and yeah, I don't regret like changing, because at the same time you need law for everything. Like if you want to work of those type like manager or something, you have to be aware, like, because there's like it's money, it's a lot of money, and if you just mess up with one law, like they will come after you and they will like turn down all the building, for example, if you just like didn't pay attention to one like part of the code or one law, which is great. So I can see like I didn't change my path totally, because I'm still going to use it, and at the same time I'm learning something that I really love, which is like I enjoy, like whenever I enter to a building, I keep like looking at the building, the design, how it is made, like how it is making me feeling like home, comfortable or not. So yeah, that's why basically I choose this field.
Uh, yeah, thank you for your sharing. I think you're really great, like to be studying construction, because as you mentioned, like not so many women like go to this field. And I think Alison have the comment on the chat, so thank you. And I guess the next follow-up question I would love to ask Mohammed. So as you mentioned in your answer, like for all students, all international students, it will be hard at the beginning. But I also know that you have been like have experience living in different countries. Do you think like will it help you like in somehow like before you come to US for studying?
Yes, generally speaking, I think it was helpful because from the aspect of, getting to see different people, new people you don't know, and different languages they speak. I think growing up, I always heard this language that, I grew up in different countries that speak different languages too, so it's not the same language. However, I think it still was hard to, learn the language to communicate, because I was growing up, basically my family was speaking the language I was speaking, which was a mix of French and Arabic. So it wasn't hard to, communicate with people, especially I'm not doing anything. I'm just home going to school. But when I came to the US, you're basically by yourself, which is another thing, my family was then with me. You're by yourself, you have to figure out everything in school and outside school. So yes, it was helpful, but it still was hard in some way.
Yeah, I share that feeling with you. And I think like being alone, like by yourself, take care of yourself, also help you to become more independent as well. And the next follow-up question I would love to ask maybe Philadelphia. I remember you mentioned you have found the passion in your life, like the thing you really want to do. I think it's not easy for all of us to figure out our passion in life. So can you share a little bit more the process that you figure it out and
Okay. So I before coming to PCC, I went to a business school in my country for a year, and then I came to PCC. I didn't like studying business, obviously, and then I went to PCC and I was like, oh, I always wanted to be an architect, and I'm gonna do civil engineering and then go to an architecture as a master. So that was a great plan. But then it's just so happened that I applied for U of O as a biology major, and I took it. And I mean, this is a subject that I always liked, and yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that decision. And honestly, I don't think I can give a suggestion about like how to find it. For me, it was kind of a matter of luck, and I happened to really like it. And it's like I was telling the other day to my friend that nothing blows my mind as much as like biology, some of the mechanisms that happen in life. So yeah, I think I got lucky, to be honest.
yeah, I feel so happy for you. Like you figure
Thank you.
yeah, because I really have the hard time to recognize like what major I want to study or like thing like that.
Yeah, and I think it's also it's
Yeah,
also about like I realized as much like as my classes get harder and harder, it's just like it's a thing in colleges that to discuss with your friends how hard classes are. Oh, it's always such a hot subject, and it's always you have something to talk about. But I think I realized that I perform really good when I come with an attitude that I can do it. And so I feel like if you like something, and like as much as even if you're going to be brilliant at it, but if you're going to doubt yourself about your abilities to do it, I think it's going to be really hard even to find your passion.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like we all have to put a lot of effort like, in our study too, and maybe just try and we will got lucky like you to figure out the passion in life. So the next follow-up question, I would love to ask Nishan, because I learned that you used to be a national taekwondo player in your home country, Nepal. So how did you feel to leave that behind and move to the US?
Well, honestly, I always knew that I wanted to study abroad in the USA. Well, I hadn't chosen a major or like I took a gap year after high school when I was in Nepal. So that is the time where I felt like I had free time enough to dedicate myself to Taekwondo. So that is like 2015, 16, 17, like when I was officially in the national team. Before that, I used to do Taekwondo, but then like that one year I was doing SAT, applying for visa, looking for colleges, applying, like doing the Common App, doing TOEFL, SAT, and like a lot of things. So like a lot of things to process my transition from Nepal to US. And that is why I had the free time and to be able to do it. And like at one moment, like even during that year, I was thinking I wanted to do Taekwondo. Like I applied to University of Bridgeport in like Connecticut as a bachelor in Taekwondo martial arts major, and I almost got it, but then somehow I didn't end up going there, and then I decided that I will come to PCC. So that is quite interesting. Other than that, my time when I was doing Taekwondo, like really competing in an international level, like made me realize like how far the difference between like developed countries and developing countries are, and that like that is what motivated me more to like pursue civil engineering, like engineering, but I was not sure. Like I had renewable energy engineering or water resources engineering, like something that would be able for me to contribute to the community back home in Nepal. So that is how I started on this track. Like I know I'll be there for 1 year doing Taekwondo and learning as much as I can. Like there's so much there too. But then that really made me decide that, oh, I want to study this, that way I can contribute to the society, like have better roads or more electricity for developing countries like Nepal. And that is how I ended up coming to PCC, and PCC where I kept thinking about how I can contribute to the community, and ended up at ASPCC. And then now like I'm at Drexel where I'm like more focusing on, okay, I need the technical capabilities of learning and applying these skills. So like after 2023, I'm hoping I'll be able to take on some projects in developing countries after I graduate. So like, yeah, like long story, but then like from Taekwondo, like it eventually ended up like, oh yeah, I want to do structural engineering and make an impact.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a great process, and I really appreciate the thought you have about like contribute back to the society or like back to the community, like where you're from. That is good. That's really great. And the last follow-up question I would love to ask Thi. So as you mentioned, you came to the US when you just finished your high school. Can you share what was the most nervous that you feel at the time?
So, like when I was in high school and like we had to do like national exam and then like to get into university, but you had to choose like your major before like get accepted. And I didn't really know like what I want to do. So I'm just like, so I choose like the most like common major that everyone choose is like engineering. So, and luckily I got accepted into it, but that's like not really what I want to do. It's just like what like everyone is doing, and then like kind of like what my dad wants me to do to become like an engineer. So like a little bit after high school, I asked them like, can I postpone like my university and just like come to the US to learn English? Because like I want to improve my English and just like to see like the word and like see like what is there and then like just to explore. So I was really nervous because at first I thought like my parents didn't allow me to come here because like it's just like postponed my like the whole like university process and just come here to study English. But then they really support me. They were like, yeah, you can do it. And so I kind of like nervous because like after high school, I just like with like high school English classes, just like, hey, hi, how are you? Like, I'm fine and good, thank you. And how are you? Kind of like that. So I came here by myself because my parents cannot take off work to go to the US with me. So just like me, myself, like on the airplane. And so like I had to transport to like different airport. And so like I asked people and people was like saw me like, hey, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 18. I'm like, okay, you look really young. So I'm just like, is anyone going with you? Like, no. And then they just like show me like how to get to like the gate and stuff. So like that's really nice because like people was saying like, oh, just be careful with like people around you, like they maybe like not nice and then something like that. And my parents was like, I got nervous, but then people was like really nice, like just like helping me. And so I got to the US and it was really nice that some of my family relatives that I haven't seen for like 10 years, they picked me up and then like helped me and stuff. So it's like still nervous, but like less. And then I start like going to PCC for orientation is nervous because like I took the bus to PC Rock Creek and I lived in PC South, like Southeast area. So it was my first day like taking all like the buses and Max like to PC Rock Creek. So it was really funny because I took like the opposite way, you know, like bus 10 and then there's like two opposite directions, like if like you took one way and then you go to like the other of the town and then like you took the other way to go to like the right direction. So I got on the bus and I show like, hey, how do I get here? And then just like with my barely speaking English, it was just like excuse me, how do I do this? And then it's just like, oh, took this. And then I took it, but then it took me to a different direction. So it took me like way longer to get to PC Rock Creek. But I mean, it's like experience, and I just like try to like talk to people more, and then like getting like more comfortable with like communicating English. And then yeah, and then I did like a lot of volunteer, and then I finally, like one time I was like applied for volunteers just like at the hospital, just like helping like at a gift shop. And then like they moved me to radiology department, and I was there for like a year. And then I met like a lot of people. I helped like patients just like putting them on gown and just like communicate with them, checking their like name, date of birth and stuff like that. And I talked to like all the radiology technologists, and kind of like I feel like this is like what I want to do in my life, just like helping people, taking the x-ray, and then like talking to patients and kind of like helping them feel better. And I got to know more about like the PCC program, because PC have that program. And then all some of the techs like kind of like said that like, oh, there's like more options here, like in Oregon. There's like Oregon Tech that have like same program also. And so I can like look into more about it. And yeah, and so I applied for both program, and then this is here I am, like I'm almost like graduate and doing my externship like last year. My last year externship is gonna be starting this year until like next year. So it's getting, I think it's like nervous at first, like coming here, like as a high school student, didn't know what you want to do, but it's just like trying to talk to people and then learn experience from them. And I think it's like you can find like what you really want to do in your life, just like starting like little steps. I think that's like really helped.
Yeah, thank you. That like have like the I thought it like kind of summary like the whole time you first came to the US and until now, like when you almost graduation. Congratulations anyways. And I think I share with you the experience that like, cause one time I went to the Sylvania Campus and I got the bus 44, but like in the opposite direction too. So it took me like way too long to get to the campus. Yeah, I really like enjoy listening to you all like both all great story, and I think like our other international students also learned and inspire a lot from your story too. And the next question I have for you all.
Oh, I think you got muted. You got muted.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't pay attention. I'm not sure like when it muted, but so the next question I have for you all is what was the most difficult thing that you found when you first attended BCC, and how do you get through all those challenges and find accomplishment at BCC? And another note, like I really love the conversation like people have in the chat room right now too. Anyone wanna go for this question first?
I can go first. So
Yeah.
the most challenging part is I was living super far from campus, from all campuses. I was all the way to the last part of Milwaukee, almost Clackamas, and using public transportation is not fun. So yeah, it was taking me to the closest campus, which was, I believe, Cascade. I think it's Southeast, but it's still like Cascade. I take just 1 hour max train, the train. So that was like very, and then my main campus is Rock Creek, which is 2 hours and more when there is no like good like connection between the public transportation. That was very, very hard. Then I moved like after a year and a half, I moved to like 1 hour away from Rock Creek, and they felt super happy. That was like a huge to me. Like for other people, it's still like super far, but for me, I was so happy because it's just 1 hour at that time, and I got to be closer to Rock Creek. Now I'm just 5 minutes away from Rock Creek, so yeah, I just was trying to keep myself positive, because if I broke down, that's it. I have to go back home. But other than that, I was even trying to make my trip like more enjoyable. I was listening to the music, and that's the only time where I could listen to the music. Um, and having my coffee in the morning, because I drink my coffee so slowly. So I was trying to use that time for my benefit, but still, like, when the weather is super cold and I have just to wait like 5 minutes outside, it was like super hard for me. Yeah, but at the same time, I was renting from a family that had super nice house. They have like a swimming pool and a hot tub. So I was counting it as like, oh, so when in the weekend I will be enjoying myself, like sitting in the hot tub in the backyard or something like that. But it was super hard for me. That was my big challenge. But I overcome it by like just keeping myself positive. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, maybe my Wi-Fi a little bit. Can you all hear me? Hello? Oh yeah, sorry, because I feel like the screen like it moving. Um, yeah, Hamida, I mean that's great that you keep the positive and you have great time on the bus to on the way from your house to your school too. How about other panelists who want to share your thought on this question? And I want to mention a little bit for the audience. If you have time, please help to type your email in the chat. So at the end of the today event, we will have the draw to give the gift card for attendance as well. Maybe Mohammed, you want to share about your experience on this?
Sure. So what was the most difficult thing, right? I think the most difficult for me, I mean, I think the most difficult was navigating the system in the school overall, because I always, like in the end of my like end of before I graduated, I was telling people people really need a degree to get a degree, because it was just like very hard to navigate what is, especially for international student, because you have to be full-time. What if you know withdraw one class, so like all of these information that are not very accessible unless you go and ask. So, going to ask my teachers about, if I remember finishing the last ESL level and going to, what was it, reading 115 or something like that, where it was like the first class with like students who are actually domestic students. So like making sure you're up to that level, making sure that you understand the assignment. So like when, so that was like the most difficult for me, especially in the beginning. But then, going and finding something, or where's the office? There are 4 campuses. Why do I have to go to 4? Sometimes you have to take one class here. So it was just like navigating the system within the school. That was just like, it took a lot of time to understand the system. And now actually it's funny, because when I finished and I came here, it's kind of the same, because you just like have a new environment and you're trying to figure out where's this, where's that. So I think that was the most difficult for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think I really haven't had time to find the room for the class sometime when it's pencil like that on the 8T building on Sylvania Campus. So next, maybe Nishan, would you mind if you share your thought on this?
Yes. So for me, like thinking about when I started, like one of the most difficult, also like the most surprising maybe, like experience that I had was in the classroom. Like getting used to the diversity of the student body in the class. Like it was surprising. Like I don't mean no disrespect or anything, but then like I appreciate it now more. Like that I was surprised. Like there were people the same age as my grandmother in my classroom, like writing 122. Like we ended up in the same project like for the first 2 weeks, and it was really surprising. Like it was for me at first, like I didn't know how to like approach like a group conversation when we were doing a. So like I would try to follow what she led on, but then later on, like I got used to working with different people from all background, like all like my classmates and like group mates like range from like working night shift and coming to 9 a.m. classes, or like people who were financially insecure and like were living with their like friends like on the couch. And so really at PCC it was at first it was tough to really grab my mentality, like trying to see from their point of view, like when we were trying to work in a group. But then later on, like I gradually moved out of my comfort zone and starting talking to everybody, and then like really getting used to the culture myself of having an open mind and like collaborating freely and like really trying to understand their situation and then trying to help in any way I can. So that was at first really challenging, but then I think that is also one of the things that I love the most about PCC now that I'm at a different campus where like, you know, like we're all the same age and like everybody have like, it's a better, easier way to understand somebody's background. But then at PCC, you'd be surprised and you'd respect and you'd like learn more every day from different people, like from different like culture, age, gender. And so like really even the campuses, like every campus has a different feel, and then all of that like comes together at PCC. And although it may be intimidating at first, but later on like you just love it. And yeah, like just one like example out of that, like when I was working at ASPCC Sylvania, like our janitor, like Lily Boone, I think. So she always came out to take the trash from our office at the end of the day, like before I left for class at 6 p.m. And really knowing that, like when I got a scholarship at PCC, and then the event, I think it was scholarship reception, like in the winter term, and I got an award for the Rose Scholarship, and she got the I forgot, but she got an award for technical education. Like she was working as she had a course for like cars, like automobile fixing. So I was really surprised and really happy that she got an award. And really looking, that just shows what PCC is all about. Like we work on campus, we go through classes here, and then the community comes together to like welcome and support and do everything. Like so, especially at PCC, that was at first a challenging thing, but then that's also what I really miss the most about PCC now.
Yeah, thank you. I think those really like a great experience that you have at PCC, because I think like in more Asian, as you mentioned at the beginning of your talk, like in more Asian country, like it's hard for us to don't keep the, maybe like you have to always respect to older people. And to be honest, like in my country, I never really like call their first name like just as a friend, but it's really different when we came here and in the same class with them. And I'm glad that you got a lot of had been through at BCC. So
Yeah. So like I remember her name because I had a picture of her at the scholarship reception. Like so, like yeah.
do you still keep in touch with her?
Not unfortunately no, but still.
Yeah. So how about you, Julia? You want to share a little bit your opinion, like what were the most difficult when you first came to the BCC?
Yeah, so for me, I think the most difficult was finding the classes I really need to take. because the reason why I chose PCC is because PCC used to offer a very unique program. It's called Biology and Management of Zoo Animals. So it's very unique and rare program. So that was the reason why I came to PCC. So I studied. I entered the program ESOL. So I did that for like a few months, and then I realized that that program was actually canceled by PCC. So I ended up with this like question, what am I gonna do? I came here for a program which now is canceled. So I wasted some time, to be honest. Now I'm looking back and I'm thinking that yeah, I actually did waste some time because I was thinking what classes I need to take, and I ended up taking like painting, yoga classes. Why did I even do that? I don't know. So it took for me some time to realize which direction I want to go. And some advisors were not as helpful as others. I remember I came to like advising office in Rock Creek, and the advisor just like turned me away because I was international, and she was like, I don't know much about international students. I don't want to mess up. So basically she just let me go. So I had to figure out on my own which direction I want to take and what new major I want to have. So that took a while. So I think, yeah, that was the most difficult decision because I had to figure out new major by myself. So that was a struggle.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry, like you have to been through those difficult time at the beginning. And Ned, Philadelphia, you want to speak on this?
I have a probably similar comment to Julia's experience. So there's just so many places you go and they have no idea that there's international students exist in PCC. And they're just like, oh, I don't know, like that would be it. And I thought this is a kind of a norm. Maybe it's not a good comparison, but in U of O, like if I go anywhere, I get answers right away. And they're much more trained to serve international students. They're much more aware of like policies we have to follow. And I don't even know like this how many times like I had to just like figure out myself. I became like an expert to finding credit evaluations for my classes that I'm taking and figuring out like my path to the like higher like an 4-year colleges. It was like you can go to international student office advisors and they would tell you, okay, they know at that time they knew the scope of like policies regarding to 4-year colleges in Oregon, but when it comes to other colleges it was like, oh, I don't know, and plus if you go for saying, oh, I know there's a Sylvania had this engineering advising for the engineering program. They were just like, I don't know, they would just send you off basically. So that was probably the most struggle, and my solution was to just figure out myself, and yeah, probably like networking too with other international students that are over there, like to colleges that I want to go.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing, Philadelphia. I think I feel sorry that we have to been through that, but I felt like as the international student, each of us like gain a lot of skill on ourselves to figure things out. Before we move to the next question, I would love to hear your thought on this question too, please.
I to kind of like agree with Philadelphia and then Yulia also, because sometimes like when I first year that I came here, I didn't really know what to do. So some of my classmates was like, oh, I have like my advisor like help me with this. So they gave me their advisor like just like contact like email. So I emailed them and then they turned me back. They were like, and they said kind of like I'm like we're not really know about like international students, so we cannot help you at all. So I was kind of like really upset because that's the same thing that happened. And because like people got help with like kind of like navigate like what path do you need, kind of like classes that you need to take after writing 121, because I didn't really know like what classes I should take after, because those are kind of like general classes. And I'm just kind of like figure things by myself. And I'm lucky to have that. My friend, she was like working at peer, what is that, career center, like peer advisor. And she kind of like told me like what they're doing. So that's why luckily to me who have like her that like can like tell me about that. Like they have like different like program that can like help you navigate, can like narrow down what you want to do, can like based on your interest or like yeah, like interest or like good at like hobbies. So that kind of like helped me a little bit. And then I kind of like have to kind of like talk to other people or like have to do volunteer just like to figure out like what I want to do. So I think like that's kind of like the most like difficult thing. And I feel like for like PCC, they have like different program like PC Career Center. It's kind of like good for like helping international students. So I think that it should like can be like advocate more, like helping the students to kind of like navigate, like kind of like narrow down what they want to do or like what major, because kind of like students can like have to like figure out themselves a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and I'm glad you are bringing up a couple of solutions at the end. So it kind of related to the next question I want to ask you all. I know like all of you like you used to be the student leader at BCC. So what do you think like BCC can do better, or BCC or either leadership program can do better in terms of support international students so they can get through like maybe the first time when they came to the US, or how to get more engagement from students when they go to the community college. Maybe Nishan, you want to go to share your thought first for this question?
So how can PCC improve in serving international students better? Well,
Yeah, you can understand that way. Yeah. So how can BCC better to support international student or BCC student in general, or how to get more involvement from students?
well, there are resources. There are a lot of resources even outside PCC, even in PCC that we are not aware of, and like yeah, like one of the many concerns, like as an international students, we had like what Philadelphia T, Julia, I mean Mohammed and me, like as well, like we were together in it, like figuring out the classes, figuring out colleges where to apply to, all of it. Like I really can say that like advising can be more efficient in like trying to figure it out from a step back, like what the classes that where you want, what are the classes that you need to take at PCC that will transfer to universities. So I think that is one like very straightforward, efficient way of making the experience at PCC easier. Like then we know like in 2 years we take this class. Like if somehow I have to repeat this class, like these classes are offered in this term. Really that system, like when we are onboarding as a first freshman, like if we were able to connect to with like some mentors, like international students like who have gone through those first year classes, even that, I think like a buddy system for international students, I think that is one thing that can truly like right away get first year students on the track to get where they want to go, like be it transfer or be it OPT. So other than that, also like I feel there are opportunities like the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship or like the Ford Family Scholarship, colleges that offer scholarships to transfer international students specifically. So really maybe having those on a calendar to know like what is coming up and how you can apply. Like even Phi Theta Kappa example, like for example, those societies like have opportunities that support international students. So it might be a way to let international students who are seeking for those opportunities know, okay, well, this is this coming up, this is this what I need to take. Only in the first term, if I were able to get those, then I know, like, winter term is for this, spring term is for this, in the summer I can do this, or go back to. So like just having a better plan, like it might help a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Nishan, for sharing your thoughts on this. How about you, Mohammed? You wanna add anything?
Yeah, I think I want to add to Nishan's point because I have faced the same problem, and I have heard a lot of people, a lot of not just international students, but overall. I think something PCC can do, because it's really hard for students to know where they want to transfer overall, because that's what classes you want to take, or it's just hard to. Some people know, which is great, but a lot of people don't, and they end up taking classes that they don't need. So something PCC can do, I think, overall, is having these common classes that can be transferred to a lot of colleges more accessible and more. So if people taking like, there's a whole differences between East Coast, West Coast thing. So I don't know how that would be, but it would be like more in the academic side of the college to work on classes that are, the syllabus of it is share the same purpose. So when students taking them, they end up the class end up transferred. So just to add on that, because it is a big thing. You end up taking classes that you think you need, and then you don't, especially when it's major specific. Like in my personal experience, there is, I think, 4 or 5 engineering classes that are more specific to, I would say, maybe Oregon State colleges. Thankfully, I didn't have to take like the ones that are not transferred. But then when I transferred, even like basic one like statics, they had hard time to transfer it because it didn't meet the requirement of different colleges. So stuff like that would be tremendous for a lot of students, international and domestic.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that, and especially like international student, like we have to pay like really expensive tuition, and it really like take a lot of time, our money, like when you study some class and you're not able to transfer, or it's not really like related to what you want to study to. And how are you, Philadelphia? Do you have any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I think one way to kind of like improve international students' experience would be train the PCC staff for the policies that international students have to follow, and they're not like end of the world. It doesn't mean that they cannot do that program or whatever. It's just something that to be aware of, and I think a lot of the times, again, like they did not know anything, they would end up just sending you back. So that's one way. And also, I know a lot of, not every international student want to pursue like 4-year degree after all. So one thing I didn't realize, to be honest, that PCC had a lot of those small programs that you can go and you can actually get like some kind of like degree that you could, very specific, right? Like one of my friends, she got medical assistant degree. So maybe like make sure they're aware of that PCC offers these type of great programs. And another comment too, for the ones who want to transfer, like it was amazing when Allison organized, thank you Allison for that, organized this in Sylvania. You brought like representatives from like international recruiters from universities. So they were tabling for a couple of days. And I remember me and Mohammed went and we talked to Purdue, we talked to UVO, and I got hooked to UVO right away. it was like quite a great experience, and it was super helpful to get that connection with that like actual physical person.
I think that's a great idea. And I would love like maybe the Office of International Student, they can host more type event like that in the future. How about you, Hamida? You want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to go back to something very, very important that Nishan mentioned, which is the importance of mentorship. I know how confusing and scary for a new international student to navigate the system. And in my first term, actually, during the orientation, I met Muhammad, and that was super helpful. He introduced me to the like leadership at PCC, and like he even did like at Cascade, he did what was that? Workshop, how to apply for those positions, and I was able to like be part of the leadership from like my first term. I was like volunteering, and then the second term I was doing the training for the WRC, and since then I was super involved with the like I always work in two places. One is a center and one is ASPCC. So I was like everywhere, like in more than one campus every year. And that's give me a lot, because like in centers we learn more about social justice, which is my what I am passionate about. So, and at the same time at ASPCC I learn more stuff, like different stuff, how planning and all those type of like planning for events, budgeting. So yeah, mentorship is super important, and that's why I decided to be a mentor, and to help, especially like new international students that are joining PCC for the first time, and especially those who don't speak the language. I can still like, I feel super happy when I explain to them like how to navigate the system, how to be successful, how to learn, what to do, and like they feel so grateful, and I feel them, because in the beginning I didn't have the issue of the language, but I can still like relate. I was confused how to navigate the campus, where to find, especially campuses like Rock Creek. You don't even know, like the buildings are just numbers. You don't know where the library is, where the bookstore is. You know, it's still like the campus tour, the downtown tour, and from the ASPCC like training, I know like international students from those 1 week of orientation know more than what like residents know. Like they know more how to navigate PCC system. They know like more about leadership programs, because they have mentors with them, showing them where to go. While like the residents or citizens, they spend like 1 year. Like most of them, they spend 1 year to be able to know more about. And I know people that they graduated from PCC, but they don't even know what PCC's program besides like classes are. You know, so I think mentorship, I that's my personal opinion, but I think international student at PCC, they have more opportunities and they know more, because I have been in those leadership programs for 3 years. Most of those programs, they have like even like 50% international students, like ASPCC, or like in the center there is like at least 2 or 3 international students, and international students are minorities, but they have the information from the beginning. Like when they go to during the orientation, they go to those workshops, they know more, they ask more, so they have the information, and they are privileged in that part, you know. Even like when we were in Silverfall, we talked about it, like how like there were some resident students asking like, why international students know more? Why don't we have like 1 week of, and you know, this is super expensive to have 1 week of orientation, and like, for example, 100 students having all those people advisors and like people helping them and mentors and IPLs helping them, which is a little bit hard to do with all those thousands and thousands of students. All what they do is just like a very quick tour of campus, and that's it. So I still like feel international students are a little bit more privileged, like about knowing the leadership programs, and that's why we are like more engaged in it. We are building our communities as well because we are new, we don't know anything else. So we get more attached to each other, we get to know each other and help each other, which is, for me, I feel it's a very good thing about PCC.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I also think like because the mentor will give maybe like myself a sense of like supportive and belonging. So that really like good the thing like that BCC should have like to have international student at the beginning like in their journeys. So I also would love to hear maybe Thi or Yulia, you wanna have any additional thoughts on this?
Well, everyone already mentioned the big things and important, like advising, because advising is a huge thing, and I completely agree that assigning like a specific assistance to a new international student would be like enormous help, because they're new, they're coming to a new country, they're coming to a new institution, and it would be very beneficial to have someone with experience to help them navigate. It can be like international peer leader, international mentor, it can be advisor, anyone who can help you go through this. Right now, in my experience, I'm applying for university, and actually they have a council who reach out to you, and we talk together like weekly. He just called me like last week and like a few days ago, and he helped me to like make sure I'm okay, make sure I'm on the right track. So like this communication is extremely helpful, just to make sure you guys are doing okay and we are okay, and like we are clear what courses we need to take, and just welcome each other to a country. That's very helpful. And it also helps international students to have their confidence inside, so in the future they can advocate for themselves, so they can get the knowledge and experience and wisdom to advocate for yourself, to fight for yourself. Because sometimes you can be fooled by someone, you can be misguided, maybe not even intentionally, but sometimes you get like false information, and you really need to know the basic things about being an international student. You have to know those things for yourself. Like you have to advocate for yourself. So that's very important.
Thank you for your sharing. How about you, Thi? I may want to say something.
I saw that everyone's already covered most of the major things, but I just really appreciate that PC have like the international orientation, that like you have international peer leader and then international like mentors that help the international students when they first came here. So I was kind of like involved in the international office for like the most like 2 years when I was at PCC. So I really see that like how all the staff really trying to like help this international students. And like I think like when I like my last year at PCC, that they have like all the workshops, and I think it's really helpful because like when I first joined OISS, we didn't really have it. We just kind of like have like 4 or 5 days, and then like they hear the student feedback, and then they can like expand more those workshops, and it's really helpful for students, and I really appreciate that. And one thing that I want to add is kind of like more like about advising program, like maybe international students advisor can like connect with like the international advisor like the universities, so they can like when the student come to us like specific about like a university, they can like direct like, hey, I can forward you to this email, and she's like the advisor, international advisor at this school, like, or university. You can like contact or like CC them in the email, so they can like have like where to ask questions, or like can like add more questions towards the program or like about the school. So I think that really helpful. And I think I maybe graduate when like they have like the workshop about like this internet like advisor come to PCC like at that time when Philadelphia and Mohammed like mentioned about. So I really think like it's really great if they still have that going on, so they can talk like know more about international student advisors at the school that they want to go to.
Yeah, I think these are really like great idea, like in terms of how BCC or like the Office of International Student can support international students. I do have one more question, but I just realized like it almost 4:30. So I know like we have been like talking a lot. Maybe before we move to the Q&A session, any of you have any fun plans you will do in the near future? Maybe after the quarantine, you want to share with us? Yeah, anyone can answer for this question. Like you don't have to be in all the. Any fun plan that you are going to do?
I can go next. Can you hear me? Okay. So I actually applied for OPT, for a new OPT card, and I applied for adjustment of status, and I applied for like a traveling document, like all of those forms, because I recently got married. So that's very excited. So hopefully that's gonna be approved. And one thing that I'm very waiting for, I'm really waiting for my traveling form. I don't even know how it's gonna look like. It's the first time for me to apply for that, but I'm just waiting for that form because my passport is expired, so I can't go to my country. Like I missed my father's funeral. Like I haven't seen like my grandma for 5 years, so things like that. And I really wanna go like to another country. Like I've been here in the United States for 5 years, which has been like a giant pleasure. But at the same time, I really want to go to other countries like Thailand. Like I just want to go. I just want to experience something new, and I want to be able to come back. So I'm just waiting for that traveling form. Hopefully, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, and hopefully the quarantine will be over, so I can go safely to another country and come back safely. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Safety is a big thing right now. Any other panelists you want to share any fun plans? Are you going to do soon?
Yeah, well, for me at least, like I was looking forward to an internship which got canceled, but then to look forward to, like when I go back to college in Drexel, like starting fall, I'll be an RA, like a resident assistant, so I can live on campus. Like they'll provide a free housing single room for me, and like I'll be in a leadership group. So really looking forward to being in a group, like to help other students again.
Oh, yeah, that always great. Like support the student nation. You always do it. Really great. How about maybe Delta, P or Hamida? Any?
Yeah, I can go next. When quarantine is over, I'm excited to reunite with my friends. Yeah, we planned a lot of things. Like we're gonna do road trip. We're gonna go to Seattle. We're gonna do this, and it's like all got canceled. Yeah.
For me, I'm excited to start my internship in construction estimating, which I was like going to do this term, but because of all what's going on, they freeze everything. So hopefully I can do that during summer and learn more and be more like, I have like hands-on experience. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the quarantine to end.
Me too. How about you, Mohammed or P? Do you want to share any plan that you have?
I can go next. So I have, so I'm like after this quarantine, I'm gonna start my externship in Alaska. So I'll be moving to Alaska next month. And so at first my plan was drive through Canada and go like to pass Canada and go to Alaska. But with quarantine happening, so me and my classmate decided we're gonna fly to Alaska and start our externship there. So I'm really excited to move to like another state and then do my externship at Alaska Native Medical Center. It's kind of like a really new experience because I'm gonna work close with like Native Americans, so it's like really new experience and at like new place for me. So I'm really excited for this.
It's so awesome. I hope you like will have a great time in the internship in Alaska. How about you, Mohammed?
So for the first, I mean, the first thing is, well, I'm done with school for this semester. So in a week, June 1st, I'm gonna start my internship. It's gonna be remote, which is frustrating, but it's still better than nothing. And yeah, that's basically my plan for the summer, and then just finishing my last year.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can see like so many of you will do the internship in this summer. So good luck on that, and I wish you will have fun with the internship as well. So will be the Q&A session. I know that Alison like asked a couple questions in the chat, and so if any of you here, like as the audience, you have any question for our panelists, please feel free to ask, or like you can either chat, not type in the chat room. So, any question for our panelists? I think earlier one student, I forgot he or she name, sorry. I think she asked about if we have any panelists that study hygiene in the hygiene program right now. So, yeah, so we don't have any student like who study hygiene. Yeah. Anyone want to ask, have any question for our panelists? So if you like, no one want to ask any question. Oh, Alison, sorry.
I have a couple questions, but I didn't want to jump in case there were other folks. I've always got questions and I've always got something to say. So I was trying to make sure I'm not jumping in too quickly. Before I ask a question though, I just want to say that it has been so nice hearing from all of you and seeing your faces again, and to hear your next steps and what you're doing now. That has been really great. It's a good way to finish off a week before we go into a 3-day long weekend, a Memorial Day weekend. It's really nice to be here with you. So I had some questions. I was trying to chat some of the thoughts that you were provoking for me as I was hearing your different experiences and things like that. One question I had is, when you went from PCC to your current university, what challenges, so we looked at the challenges of when you first came to the US and when you first started with PCC, what was that big change or challenge that you felt, if any, going from PCC and then like starting at that new university? And maybe there weren't any challenges, maybe it was just really smooth, but that would also be good to hear.
I can start if nobody has anything. I think for me it was last semester, so the fall semester was, I think it was the hardest semester even than the first of PCC for me, because it was just jumped from I don't want to say easy, but it was jumped like 180-degree harder in terms of class level. The expectation of the professors. So it was just, and also was too many classes. The semester system was, I never experienced it. It was term at PCC. We had 3 terms, which was shorter. That was like 18 weeks. It was just too long. So that was the most challenging for me, besides, of course, navigating the college, which it's always a thing.
I can go next. So when I transferred to Oregon Tech, like the international advisor emailed me, and then I show up to the international orientation, and I was really surprised because I was the only international students at the time, like during fall term. I think it's like 2018. So I was really surprised because they had like a big group, and they were like, yeah, we so for this term we only have you as international students. So I was just like awkward there with like to other advisor, and it just helped me like navigate, kind of like told me like about the school, but it's not much because I was there, and then kind of like real nervous because I know what to ask, and I was the only international student. And they were saying that like at Oregon Tech they don't really have any international students that like attending the school, so it's kind of like a process that like kind of like all the staff will get trained to have like more international students coming. So there's like a lot of time I ask questions and they don't really have answer because it's like they don't really have international students, so they don't really have like experience to dealing with all of that situation.
For me, it took me some time to realize that this is going to be very different from PCC. And one thing that really jumped is like Mohammed said, the level of classes, it's a lot harder. Another thing was, University of Oregon is a big school, and though we do have a lot of programs, it's still super competitive. It is so much more competitive to get into a job. For instance, my job in Zebra Fish Resource Center, which is like a lab, it's one time my supervisor said they had 40 applicants for my place. I was like, what? And you picked me. And then, but yeah, it was whereas like for ASPCC, I remember we would sometimes not even have enough applicants for the positions. So realizing that this is going to be very different, you have to be a little bit more kind of open about your abilities and kind of expect to have more competition in here. It was a little bit of a challenge.
Well, for me, I would say it's a pretty smooth. Like, I reached out to Kian, so Kian Trung. He also went to Drexel, so like we lived together for a year now. So yeah, I had questions to ask to him about Drexel as well, and then it was pretty, like, he helped me a lot with the transition as well. So like, always look out for people.
Yeah, thank you. Any other thought on Alison's question? You wanna add? Oh, I think that all the train person will have. I think in the chat we have a couple questions. The first is about the hunter. He wanna ask about what is one of the weirdest thing that you experience when you come to the US.
I can answer that question. So, when I was in the elimination project, there were like some gun activities going on in Southeast Campus. And like in my country, no one owns guns other than like police and army, and they don't use it. So I've never experienced like how it feels to like the trauma coming with like someone may break in and kill you with a gun, which was crazy. So I was in the elimination project that day, and we were in the theater that is open all glass in Sylvania Campus. So we were asked to run into the back room, and they locked the door on us, and they kept asking us to lower our head, and like that was so like traumatic, you know. But it was like, I don't know, it feels weird at the same time. I felt like I'm in a movie or something, and that was like the weirdest experience I had to survive. The second one, it involved like gun too. I was walking home from the bus station in Milwaukee, and there were like a group of police in front of someone's house, and they were like just talking. And it was dark. It was evening, and the moment I got closer, they all pulled the guns. Like you can hear the sound of the guns, and I freeze because I was thinking like, because they said freeze, and I freeze, and I turned my eye just like this. I couldn't even turn my head, and I found that like they are pulling him down, that person. I think it's something most like domestic violence or something, but like the sound of guns and like all the action made me like super scared. And then I kept walking slowly because it was dark. They couldn't really see me. I was so close, but it was dark outside. That those two incidents were scary and exciting at the same time. You like, if you know like how it feels coming from a country where no one on guns, we don't even see it, and then all this like suddenly you are in like in those situations. It's I think it's more scary for me than for someone already like have experience around the police, the cops here. They sometimes like they see some scenes. I have never seen those things, so that was scary and exciting at the same time.
Thank you for Hamid. Thank you for sharing, Hamida. I feel scared, well, when you just say like a group always like with a gun. Anyone want to share about your weirdest thing that you experienced in the
I
US?
can go next.
Okay, yeah.
It's gonna be a small thing, but for me it was very interesting to realize that people here, like most of them, like 99%, they have credit cards, and for me it was such a like, wow. And I had to have a conversation, like a deep, real conversation, like heart-to-heart conversation with my husband, like, what is credit card? Why do you use it? Do you need to use it? When do you use it? And it was the whole like eye-opening experience. Apparently, so many people are using it, and I don't have it. My credit score is 0 because I don't have it, and I am okay. But apparently, in this country, people are using credit cards a lot, and it's like very important thing to have apparently. And like you need to have it to buy a house, things like that. It's just very different. I remember I was in the street and I was like passing by like, a car shop, and I saw cars, and there was like tax like 400, 200, and I'm like, wow, 200 for a car? But then I realized it's like per month and this credit card. So it's like mind-blowing experience, like very different from my country. We don't have credit card. I mean, we do, but it's very rare. So yeah, that was my eye-blowing experience.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing. If any of you have any weird experience, you're welcome to share. Otherwise, we have another question from Kenya. He asked, what is your favorite event or club that you've been involved with at your college?
Okay, I can go again. So I have two favorite events. One was last year when I was the library ambassador at ASPCC, and that was like my favorite event. It was for the occasion of the International Women's Day, and I planned and organized for a panel. It was like the event was called Women in Trades. It was on Friday afternoon, you know, like Friday afternoon at Rock Creek campus, nobody's around. But we had a lot of, like, we had this collaborative zone full of people coming from all those programs, aviation, landscape, construction, or like all the, because we did outreach through emails. I sent the emails to instructors. So we had a lot of women coming to those to this panel and asking questions, and it was so informative type of event. The second one is mentorship. This year, Andrea and I planned and organized it, and it was so fun. It was in the cafeteria, and we had like our judges from centers like International Office, AMC, QRC, and it was so fun because it's like Master Chef or like Iron Chef. Like the experience with the media services, they were filming everything. I loved it. I was like so I was no, I was at that time, like, because everything had to be like in rush and stuff, like, but I really enjoyed it. It was a nice event for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I tried that event too, and that's really great. Thank you for doing that, Hamida. Any other sharing for one of those questions? Maybe from other panelists?
I can share for Kenya's question. So we have in University of Oregon has Mills International Center where I work now, and it's so amazing. And so for instance, International Office in PCC has this little space, like where you can come. Sometimes they have like a coffee hour or something like that. But in University of Oregon, International Office is more like official place. They don't have it, but they have this Mills International Center, which is like big giant space with really, really comfortable couches and like TV, everything. Like you can hang out there. They held a lot of events too. They have their own programs. So that became like one of my favorite places in the university. And they have, yeah, and then we get really busy too. Like probably like we have a really good reviews with like whether students are enjoying the space or not. So it's, yeah, and you can see like same groups of people keep coming there, and they just like eat there, have fun. It's just really, really relaxed and nice space. Yeah.
Thank you, Philadelphia. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Any final sharing experience before?
I kind of like want to share about, I remember it was like 2 years ago, I went there twice. I think it's called Multicultural Night at PC Southeast. It was kind of like around May or something, and it was really fun. There was like a lot of activities, and then like, I think starting from like 3 or 4 to like 9, and it was really fun. And there's like a lot of like, they have like small booth for like other resources just like there, and then they have food, and then like just like multicultural, and then they have dances, and it's really fun. I really like that.
Yeah, that a great event. I think Nishan, you want to say something, right?
Yeah. I mean, when Hamida shared the event that she did with Andrea, like, yeah, I mean, definitely when I was leaving ASPC the spring term, like, it was for vote, or it was for vote, I think. Like, we were pushing out for people to drop off their ballots in front of ASPCC, and like we ended up dancing in dinosaur costumes, like 3-4 people in our team. Andrea was dancing as well, like playing loud music, playing Careless Whisper, like all the, like, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That is great. I remember like you, Shudi, and everyone like dancing in the row. Like that's more fun to recall that memory. Mohammed, you want to say something before we go to close?
I mean, my favorite event of all time is end of the year party. All 3 years I attended them. They were like so fun. It's just like outside the school, everybody just very happy, and it's just a lot of fun overall. But for me, the one I planned, I think, was TEDx. It was very fun for me just because it was so stressful that when it was over, it was just like it felt so good. So that was like a lot of fun for me. Yeah, I think that's for me here for my new college. I think I'm more involved with my major stuff. So I've been involved with ASCE, which is American Association of Civil Engineers. It's not too much fun, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it not too much fun, but so that good. Yeah, thank you so much for all that great question and all the panelists that come and sharing your great story with us today. And as I mentioned at the beginning, you have Alison and Alicia from the Office of International Student Choice today too. And maybe I would like to invite Alison to have a couple of thoughts on what our panelists sharing today. Yeah, welcome, Alison. You can.
Okay, yeah. So again, thank you all very much. And thank you, Fong, for putting this on, and Andrea, thank you very much. I didn't know what to expect. I've been involved in a couple Zoom activities and events that have been put on, some by the IPLs and recently also by the Multicultural Center and so on. So I actually have to say that I think we are able to get more students together, even though it's only virtual, when we do things like this, than when we have had events in real life. And that's probably partly, maybe even a big extent, is because of what you all were talking about, trying to get from one campus to the other. You know, it takes a while. And then, you know, if you've had a full day of classes, you're like, ah, do I really want to, you know, get all the way over to Sylvania for that event? Maybe I'm feeling a little tired. So I think that one of the things that is kind of coming out of this terrible COVID situation is that we don't have to choose. Hopefully, in the future, we won't have to just say everything has to be in person or it's online. We might be able to blend those things a little bit more. So we can have in-person events where folks can really be together, share some food, hopefully be able to give each other a hug, be close to each other again. But also then, like, for folks who are in New York right now, or, you know, East Coast, North, South, up to Alaska, that we can still like put a big screen up and have you join as well. You know, that hopefully coming out of this time, we can have even more connection and use all of our tools. And I also really want to say that it was so good to hear from you all about the good stuff that happened to you at PCC, some of those supporting people, whether they were in ASPCC, the OISS, as Nishant mentioned, our facilities folks who come around every day and you know, make sure that things are cleaned up and ready to go for the next day. Every single person at PCC contributes to the community of PCC, and you all and so many more of the international students, you contribute greatly to the community of PCC. I don't know if PCC and if the students really appreciate our international students, so if the domestic students, if they really appreciate our international students enough. But your leadership positions that you all have had here, the panelists, those have kind of put you right out there. So then folks are like, oh yeah, international students, this connection to the world, they're not going to get that any other way than that you are here. So I always look at international education as both, what can we offer to international students? So how, you know, when they come to us, what can we do and what can we do better? Like the comments that you were saying about mentorship, about advising, those are so important. We have to do that better. but then I'm also looking at what do international students bring to the rest of us who are here in Portland. What do they bring to those students, the faculty, the staff? Because as you all know, most Americans don't even have a passport. They've never left the country, right? So you're bringing the world to them. And so I just, again, want to say thank you for having chosen PCC. I am very happy that you're each kind of making your path, even if there were some stumbling blocks. You were tough and you overcame those hurdles. I really cannot say enough about how wonderful ASPCC is at PCC. I think it's a driving force for good and for empowerment and for giving a voice to students. So I really, my hat goes off to all of the ASPCC student leaders, as well as our ASPCC staff. And I also just wanted to say that, you know, in these times in particular, you know, I studied abroad I lived in Germany for 14 years actually. I got my master's degree and my PhD at a German university. When I went to Germany, my German level was approximately, it was like let's say maybe level 5, maybe more like 3 or 4, really. So I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to not understand what people mean to tell you and all of those things at the beginning. But I also know what it's like to really feel like you've accomplished it and you're in it. And now you don't have to decide, I'm going to only have my US way of life or my other previous life. I get to be one of those people with multiple cultures and multiple languages, and the whole world is open to me. And I think that's especially important to embrace and encourage. And I want to tell you that I think all of you are very courageous and you're an inspiration, especially in these times of this crazy COVID situation, where a lot of folks, their first reaction is, let's just shut down all the borders. Let's, you know, globalization is a terrible idea. Everybody should just go home. Like, no, that's exactly the wrong direction. We need to stick together. We need to really look at this world as our world. It's, you know, this virus really shows us it doesn't stop at borders. It's all of us. So I want to just say that I honor your courage to stay strong and to keep being an inspiration to other international students, to keep reaching out to those American students, those domestic students who otherwise wouldn't ever get any flavor of the world, and they get to learn it through you. And finally, I just wanted to say that at the OASS, you know, we had to also make that real quick switch to, everything's online and everything's remote. So we've been trying to do that. We do have, if you go to our web pages, we have some information about how we're trying to help students through COVID. So if any of you who are on this Zoom right now, if you want more information about how the OASS can help you with your current student or future student, or you can go there. We have a virtual front desk 4 days a week where you will get Helen or Kenya or Alegria right away. You'll have a person to talk to. And from there, they can help you find resources. So yeah, again, just thank you all for sharing your experiences. And I'm grateful that you were part of, and you still are, not just Hamida, but even the ones who have graduated, you're still part of our PCC community, because what you contributed really does contribute to making that the kind of community that we want to have. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alicia. It's our honor to have you and Alicia join us today. And as I mentioned, thank you so much all our panelists to spending time join us and share your great story. And I'm so happy to see like all of you again. And as Alison mentioned, like hopefully when the pandemic ends, we can give each other a hug or like see in the person. And also thank you for all the BCC students that are spending time with us. And I hope you all have the great and valuable time to when to listen to our panelist story. And please don't forget to type your email in the chat so we can give you the gift card for attending, for your attending. And thank you, Andrea, for supporting me like during this event too. Thank you, Mohammed, Philadelphia, T, Nishan, Hamida, and Yula. Like you're like really like great student and be a great panelist. And any final speaking before we say goodbye? I wish you all stay safe and healthy.
You're awesome, Fung. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Pretty
you.
amazing. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
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 Good luck.